For billions of years, dragons have ruled as the apex predators of the world. Among them, the White Dragon King stood as the mightiest force even the gods dared not challenge. Yet today, for reasons unknown, the White Dragon accepted death at the hands of humans, despite never having wronged them. Perhaps his mere existence was too great a threat to the world, so they struck first. As death approached, seeing the humans offer no excuses, the Dragon King paid them no mind. Instead, he gazed upon the sky one last time, silently praying his soul would descend into hell, accepting this as a fitting end for a sacred dragon clan that had lived since ancient times alongside the gods. His body slowly dissolved, preparing to merge with heaven and earth, returning the divine dragon to eternal refuge. We thought he was truly gone. But fate had other plans. The White Dragon was reborn as a boy in a humble family, given the new name Dylan. Years passed, and the child grew, memories of his ancient past still vivid within him. In the village, he befriended a small, sweet girl named Ai. Surrounded by peaceful scenes, Dylan often felt life's profound meaning, yearning to savor the quiet joys of countryside living with his family. Their village, Varan, lay at the northern border of the Arrest continent. Agriculture was the heartbeat of their economy. Every day, Dylan would tend the fields, watering and fertilizing crops. Though his parents were a bit rough around the edges, he knew their hard work would bloom into a bountiful harvest worth many coins. With wisdom spanning millions of years, Dylan could do almost anything to help his village thrive. By the age of 15, Dylan was considered an adult, expected to live independently. After a day's work in the fields, he often went fishing with his older brother. They spoke of the looming danger nearby the treacherous swamp, just beyond the village borders. If trouble arose there, the villagers would be in grave peril. Dylan, gifted with combat skills, had been assigned to investigate. Normally, this mission would fall to the village militia. But seeing them tied up guarding the village, Dylan volunteered in their place. He preferred to go alone, fearing for the safety of others. Later, he sold the fish he caught to acquaintance Desto, of whom were surprised he was still so carefree the day before departure. Dylan assured them he was prepared, having waited patiently for this moment. Melida and Amb were veteran trainers, teaching the village kids how to defend themselves from monsters. Usually, Dylan helped with this training, but this time he left it to them because the area nearby had become dangerous with bandits. The village lacked enough soldiers, so the strongest were always busy protecting everyone. Each person understood the importance of training to safeguard one another. Soon after, a girl called IR arrived to escort Dylan to magic lessons. She admired him not just for his looks, but for his talents. Together they visited an elderly woman in the village for practical training. Though Dylan possessed the power of a dragon, living as a human meant he hesitated to reveal it. Beyond magic lessons, the old woman taught him many skills, though Dylan struggled most with medicine makinga, a vital art everyone in the village needed to know for self-defense. Later that afternoon, Dylan met a girl from another place. The village chief introduced her as Christina, born into nobility, and gently reminded Dylan to treat her well. Christina was strong-willed and straightforward, greeting him politely with a firm handshake. In that moment, both sensed the other's strength, though neither voiced it aloud. Returning home, Dylan resumed harvesting some winter crops, a risky task, since the villagers faced a high threat of death from the harsh cold. Summer's heat was a fierce blaze, giving Min a fresh perspective on how different life could be for others. Returning to his parents' home, he was warmly greeted by his little brother Mao, a picture of perfect family happiness. Before leaving, Min made sure his parents and brother were safe at home, then they all gathered for a joyful meal. His mom's cooking still reigned supreme, wiping out every last bite, and his dad spoke about the freedom and comfort of living independently, though it came with a twinge of loneliness. His father urged him to find a girl to marry, just like Dallon had been told before. But Min wasn't ready. He wanted to enjoy single life a few more years. When asked about tomorrow's trip, he revealed the destination was where the lizard tribe once lived. His mother worried about dangers on the road, but not going wasn't an option. Raya reminded Min to stay cautious. He promised to observe from afar, easing his mother's fears. His father praised him for maturing, trusting him to make his own choices but to stay safe. The next day, villagers came to send Min off. Much to his surprise, this was what they could do for him since the soldiers were busy. His grandfather had tried to switch shifts, but Melida stopped him. There was no one to guard the village. Soralia arrived to bless Min's journey, while Master and Irie warned that ominous signs had been foreseen, urging him to stay alert. Meanwhile, Min's friend prepared food for him to take along. It was said the lizard tribe once interacted with their village, but recently they'd vanished without explanation. So, Min's mission was to investigate what threat had driven them away, and whether it endangered their own village. Upon arrival, Min examined the swamp and sensed something strange. Using his seismic intuition, he detected an overwhelming earth elemental power here, while the water element was fading. No wonder the lizard tribe had to flee. There was no water left to sustain life. Min admitted that Maguru's divinations rarely missed. Suddenly, a noise nearby snapped him to attention. Drawing his sword, he braced himself. Formidable monsters could survive here, so whatever approached had to be something overwhelmingly powerful. But then, instead of a beast, a bewildered girl from the snake tribe appeared. At first, thinking herself threatened, she tried to appear fierce to scare Min, but he wasn't afraid. Curious why Lamia was here in such an inhospitable place, he remembered rumors of the snake tribe's bewitching beauty. She tried to charm him with magic taught by her mother, but her spells were clumsy and failed miserably. To Min, her awkward attempts looked more like a stoned dance than real magic. Suddenly, the true threat emerged: a colossal earth spirit. The innocent girl was caught in its grasp, seemingly doomed to be crushed. But unexpectedly, Min stepped in, pulling her away to safety. From that moment, the girl Selena trusted him and listened closely as they hid. She asked what the creature was. Min guessed it was a crazed earth elemental. Selena had never seen anything so huge and ugly. Min recounted how the lizard tribe once lived in this swamp, but were driven away by this rampaging spirit. Not long ago, Min's village felt a strong tremor, likely this earth spirit losing control. There was no cure for this madness, so Min proposed teaming up with Selena to block its advance. She introduced herself and revealed the snake tribe's magical talents, but since her magic shared the earth element with the spirit, it was tough to fight it directly. Still, Min only needed her to hold it off for a moment. "All right, let me show you how it's done," she said with determination. Even though they shared an element, Lamia's magic had its own subtle edge, giving Min hope. He handed her the task to distract it, while he planned to finish it off. Selena agreed but was nervous. They'd just met and worried their teamwork would be zero, endangering Min. He met her gaze firmly and promised he could handle it. The goofy girl even wished him luck, though she accidentally recited a marriage vow, leaving Min speechless. Suddenly, the earth spirit closed in on them. At the signal, both sprang into action. Selena summoned a massive explosion to hold the creature back, while Min aided her. The attack struck true, severely wounding the spirit. But those few seconds were all Min needed. Leaping high, he unleashed a secret technique infused with dragon magic into his sword. One clean slash cleaved the earth spirit in two. Mud splattered everywhere, sending Selena scrambling away, dirty but unhurt. Min checked on her and thanked her for the help. Introducing himself as Min from Reborn village, he asked her name. "Selena," she replied shyly. Their bond grew instantly. They found a spot for Selena to wash up, and by nightfall, things had calmed down. Min cooked a warm meal for his new, adorable friend. Selena was happy to meet someone who didn't fear her. She explained that, unlike other Lamias, who attacked humans on sight, she danced and didn't harm anyone. Since there were no Lamia villages nearby, she wondered aloud where Selena came from. Selena told him that when a snake person turns 17, they must leave their village to find their destined partner. She was on that very journey but hadn't found anyone as kind as Min yet. Can she pull it off? The girl claims she can, but sharing the earth element with that creature means the pain will be intense, and her powers might fall short. Yet, he only needs her to hold the beast down for a moment. All right, let me show you how it's done. Even though their magic shares the same element, when wielded by Lamia, it still carries a spark of effectiveness. Hearing this, he breathes a sigh of relief, entrusting her with the crucial task of distraction, while he plans his final move. Selene agrees, though a flicker of worry crosses her mind. They just met, and their synergy might be zero, risking his safety. But with a determined gaze, he silently vows to get it done. The carefree girl tosses him a good luck blessing, yet somehow blurts out a wedding vow, leaving Doran speechless. Just then, Earth Spirit steps closer, drawn by the signal from the young man they just met. Both spring into action, each with a role to play. Selene holds the perfect spot, summoning a massive barrage of magic, while Min supports her efforts. Their combined assault strikes the Earth Spirit with lightning speed, shattering the serpent's form. Those fleeting seconds are enough for Doran to close in on a perfect strike. Leaping high, he unleashes a signature move only he can wield, infusing dragon magic into his blade. In one swift cut, the Earth Spirit is cleaved in two, earth and mud spilling everywhere, startling Selene into a frantic retreat, stained but unscathed. The young man rushes to check on her, grateful for her help. He introduces himself as Doran from Reborn village, while she shyly reveals her name, Khan, the beautiful snake girl. Their connection deepens naturally, and they seek a place for Selene to wash off the grime. By evening, things settle down. Doran cooks a warm meal for the adorable girl, and Selene feels a rare joy meeting someone unafraid of her kind. She explains how she's different from other Lamia usually, When Lamia meet humans, they're wary and attack immediately. But Selen dances around them doing nothing. Since no Lamia villages lurk nearby, she's curious about Khan's origins. Khan shares that when a snake person turns 17, they must leave their village to find their destined Matia journey she's currently on, though her soulmate remains elusive. Her tribe is unique. Only females stay in families, bonded to strong partners. Rarely are sons born, and if so, they inherit their father's lineage instead of the snake blood. Legend says Lamia were born from a human woman cursed to birth half-human, half-snake offspring. Their bodies carry potent toxins, so partners must be immune just to share intimacy. Otherwise, the partner would perish during mating. Hearing this, Doran realizes the daunting task Khan faces in preserving her lineage. Her mother met her father during a journey like this remarkably. He was human, which explains Khan's unusually beautiful features, more charming than any Lamia Duran has ever met. Selen teases she might be falling for this boy but fears hurting him, so she dares not confess her feelings. Tasting the meal he prepared, she can't help but admire his cooking skills truly top-notch. Her childlike personality amuses Min, who thinks, if she's this playful, marrying might be tough for her future husband. When she speaks of family with a radiant smile, Min senses that Doran's life has been filled with happiness. Moments like these remind us that in a world woven with magic and mystery, connections, no matter how unlikely, can spark warmth and hope. If you've ever felt like an outsider searching for belonging, perhaps this tale whispers to your own heart. Sometimes, the journey is as precious as the destination. Happiness with loved ones. This line really struck a chord. I remember when I was a dragon, forced to live in solitude, no friends to play through till dawn. By morning, both had to part ways, each heading their own path. Wishing her to find the perfect mate, suddenly he recalled how much Lamia loved life energy. So, he passed a bit of it to Selena as a gift. But it was too strong, it almost knocked her out because of the overwhelming life force. A few days later, Selena meets two friendly adventurers who greet her warmly, praising her strength and the heavy load she carries. Innocently, she claims to be a harmless creature, asking them not to be afraid. But the moment they glimpse her lower half, the two men vanish in a flash, leaving Selena feeling quite down, as this happens every time, scaring people off. Meanwhile, in the background, Dylan trains diligently under his master's guidance. The couple works on brewing magical pashansa craft that men struggles with. Unlike ordinary elixirs, magical potions require ingredients soaked in raw energy, demanding extreme precision. One tiny slip could mean disaster, even death. While Eerie masters the art with finesse, our young hero keeps messing up, apologizing to Master Maguru for wasting her time. Yet, despite repeated failures, he refuses to give up, encouraged by his friend's comforting words. She tells him not to belittle himself, though he's not skilled at potion making. Men has a keen eye for herbs. Hearing this, he feels grateful but admits the complex formulas are tough, especially since, in his past life as a dragon, he never needed medicine and thus never learned. Master Maguru praises Eerie's work highly, lifting her spirits. Soon, Men is allowed to explore outside, though he'd rather stay with Eerie. Master Maguru explains that Dylan's offensive magic ranks high, and with more practice, he will save countless lives. She advises patience, there's no shortcut to success. Even the most talented face challenges, and these struggles will fuel Dylan's growth. She wants to help him turn his toxic failures into cures, urging him to come train whenever he can. More about her magic, surely it will save many lives in the future. She advised him not to rush. Success never comes through shortcuts. Though talented, he faced challenges in some areas. That very struggle would fuel his growth. She wanted to help him turn his toxic failures into cures. So, she invited him over to train here any time. At noon, Eerie invited him to share a meal with her family. Though not the first time, their kindness made him a bit shy. Before eating, everyone prayed to the village's nature deity, called Mai. Seeing a statue of his old friend from a past life, Dolan felt a yearning to meet her again. After eating, he dashed off somewhere but was called back by Mu to drink fresh milk. This beautiful girl was a half-human, half-bull being with abundant milk. She often shared it with villagers, for nothing beats a mother's milk, especially from someone so young and lovely. So every day, the men came to enjoy it. Dolan, a devoted fan of Mu's milk, eagerly accepted the invitation. Meanwhile, men hurried back to the training ground to help. By chance, Christina spotted him and was curious where he was headed. Nearby, Anne was training the kids as usual. Though a few years older than Dolan, they were close as siblings. The kids ran out to show off their progress when he sensed something familiar in the nearby foresta presence of monsters. Worried, the young man went to investigate. By evening, he realized the aura might belong to Selena, though she should have left far away by now. Moving closer, Dolan caught her bathing hay, greeted her immediately. The girl, shy but clever, tried not to let him see. Embarrassed, she accidentally spilled water, prompting him to come to her rescue. The scene was priceless. She had nothing to cover herself, and he was the type who didn't fuss over such things. Perhaps all the milk she drank in the village got her used to such sights. When Dylan asked why Selena was still here, she turned away, refusing to answer. She denied his compliments about her beauty, but Dylan, who saw beauty as something to admire, ignored her protests. He joked that admiring such beauty wouldn't diminish it at all. Selena, though shy, accepted that a man's desire for beauty was natural and had nothing to be ashamed of. She scolded him like a dog for teasing her, but after a playful slap, she apologized for her sharp words. Selena was easygoing and let it slide. When Dylan asked why she had come here, she recalled that last time she said she would head south to find that elusive, lucky soldier. She looked sad, explaining that although that was her plan, whenever she met someone she scared them off. Only Dylan treated her kindly, which was why she sought him out. Dylan had no issues and actually hoped to see her again. Seeing her like this made him happy, which in turn lifted Selena's spirits. Dylan suggested they live together after all. His parents had been pressuring him to find a partner. Maybe living with Selena would bring happiness. When asked what she thought, Selena mistook it for a confession of love, but she doubted cohabitation would work since lamias were seen as dangerous monsters. Dylan already had a plan to help her. Plus, the village had many half-beast and half-human residents. Adding a cute monster like her might not be a problem. At first, villagers might be wary, but over time, Selena could win their hearts. Knowing she had a chance to befriend humans filled her with indescribable joy, though she felt like she was flirting. Selena smiled brightly, saying living with Dylan would be fun, maybe even better if they did what couples do. If it were men, she could handle her poison. She also admitted another reason for seeking him. When Dylan previously transferred life energy to her, she was enchanted. She'd never tasted such rich, nourishing vitality. Knowing she craved this, Dylan cunningly promised she could draw on his life force any time they lived together. At this, Selena fell for him hard. Sharing life force became their secret joy, and together they hatched a plan to build trust with the village. Days later, villagers began receiving gifts of fresh meat and fish left by Selena. Based on tracks and offerings, they suspected a monster was nearby. But why gift food? Everyone knew lamias were fierce and dangerous. The villagers had long guarded their peaceful lives against threats, so they were wary. A meeting with the village chief and elders was held. Though lamias were rare, Selena's presence suggested something important. Dylan's gifts were delicious, but he remained cautious and wanted to gather a group to eliminate the threat before disaster struck. The elders debated, aware that even alone the serpent woman was formidable. Outside, Dylan overheard the discussions and worried whether their plan to gain trust would succeed. Selena worked hard to catch fish for the villagers. Meanwhile, Madame Maru advised the captain not to rush. Everyone understood his concern for the village's safety. She believed the gifts had a purpose, so they must wait for the monster to reveal itself clearly before acting. Eerie brought the fortune-telling charm their master had prepared. The reading predicted the serpent's arrival would bring fortune, aligning with Madame Maru's thoughts. Hearing this, the villagers felt reassured and agreed to wait a little longer. Dylan was pleased that evening as he told Selena it was time to take the final step. The village's guard had lowered, so men believed their plan would work. The next day, Dylan and Melida gathered a few people to search for Selena's trail. Naturally, Men was in the group to intervene if anything went wrong. Seeing the village's core protectors assembled, Anne was a bit worried other areas might be vulnerable. Dylan, however, was glad more witnesses to Selena's kindness could only help. The most influential voices were Dylan and Melida, but equally important was the nun Letia, a devotee of the goddess Morali, with healing and antidote powers considered the goddess's messenger. If she accepted Selena, the plan could proceed. The plan was to stage a rescue. Dylan would pretend to be attacked by a fanged rabbit monster, and Selena would appear at the right moment to save him. But things escalated when a huge monster suddenly appeared. Initially, they thought it was Selena, but this beast was even more terrifying. Called the Mountain Armor King, it was incredibly powerful. With a single strike, it could kill anyone. The captain warned everyone to fall back. In the chaos, the captain's son stumbled and was targeted by the beast. The surprise attack was shocking, but Dylan arrived just in time. Selena was nearby too, and she used her powers to shield the two brothers. But Dolan remained cautious, wanting to gather everyone to strike before disaster struck. The village elders debated since, though solitary, the snake being was dangerous. Outside, Dolan overheard and worried if their trust-building plan would hold. Selena worked hard, catching fish for the villagers. Madame Maguru was more optimistic, advising the captain not to rush. Everyone here knew he cared deeply for the villagers' safety. Reflecting on Lamia's food offerings, she guessed there was reason behind it. So they needed to wait for that person to appear to see friend or foe before acting. Eerie brought a fortune-telling reading from the master, which predicted the snake's arrival would bring good fortune. This matched what everyone hoped. Relieved, they followed her advice and waited a little longer. Dolan felt hopeful that evening, telling Selena it was time to take the final step. The villagers' guard was down, so their plan might just succeed. The next day, Dolan and Medill gathered a small team to track Lamia's trail. Men was naturally part of this group to intervene if needed. Seeing the village's core protectors assembled, and worried about other areas left unguarded, Dolan, on the other hand, was glad more witnesses would see Selena's kindness. The most influential voices were of Dolan, Medill, and importantly, the nun Letia. A devotee of goddess Morali, she possessed healing and antidote powers, acting as the goddess's messenger. Once she accepted Selena, the plan to save people would go ahead. Dolan would play the victim attacked by a fanged rabbit, and Selena would reveal herself at the right moment. But things escalated beyond control when a huge monster suddenly appeared. At first, they thought it was Lamia, but this beast was far more terrifying. Known as the Mountain Armor Bear King, it was immensely powerful. Its strikes could kill anyone instantly. The captain warned everyone to fall back. Frightened, the captain's son stumbled and became a target. The scene shocked them all, but Dolan arrived just in time. Selena was close behind, shielding the two brothers with her skills. She controlled the beast to retreat to its territory without harming anyone. Witnessing Lamia's overwhelming power, the villagers grew cautious. The rescued boy was grateful, but was called back by his father. Dolan stayed behind to protect Selena, insisting no harm should come to her. Medill saw her as friendly, but the captain remained wary. As leader of the protection team, he wanted no misfortune. Men said he'd been taught not to repay evil with evil, so he wouldn't abandon her. When asked about offering gifts to the village, Selena admitted it and bowed, pleading to live peacefully. She followed her species' laws but faced rejection everywhere. She longed to belong somewhere, even just for a while. Her sincerity moved the soldiers. The reason she saved the two earlier was fear of their death hurting their family. Having a human father, she was unlikely to cause harm. Madame Maguru's prophecy seemed true. Meanwhile, Leticia received a divine vision from goddess Mali and accepted Selena. Everyone embraced her. Dolan was amazed, feeling his old friend had helped a little. This was the sacred verdict no one dared argue. The nature goddess Mali declared Lamia not evil but a child of nature. They wished for peaceful coexistence. Selena closed her eyes to lessen the fear from her cursed gaze. Fainting from blood loss, she was immediately taken for treatment. The next day, the villagers gifted her a home welcoming her as one of their own. Selena's joy blossomed amidst all the preparations, including a gift from Barlan's father, a heartfelt apology, and thanks for saving his son. Ir, still unfamiliar with the Lamia tribe, sought Selena's guidance, while Dulan introduced her as a neighbor, sealing this success with a handshake. Despite unforeseen troubles, Dulan thanked his divine friend for sending the prophecy to aid him and Selena. That night, Men used his special ability to shift into spirit form and visit Goddess Mali. Piercing through 9 layers of clouds, he arrived at a breathtaking place, greeted warmly by the dragon friend who awaited him. They were once close, calling each other just by name. But now, as a human, Dulan addressed her as Goddess, Divine Dragon Lady. Having grown accustomed to mortal life after reincarnation, he shared Selena's story. She knew it all. Men expressed gratitude once more to Mali. Without her prophecy, who knows what fate Selena would have faced. Now, everything was settled. The young man was surprised the goddess recognized him in human form. She explained it was because she heard the prayers from men's dragon spirit. What he sought was simply a wish to live happily, so different from the White Dragon King she once knew who had met Dulan. He did not deny this. In this life, he had kind friends. Before dying, when the hero's sword pierced his heart, he felt no despair, only a strange relief. But now, this young man understood that for some, every day could be their last. The fragile human body was so easily broken, so Dulan cherished this human life ever more deeply. Mali saw her dragon friend shining brilliantly, sensing pure joy swelling in men's heart, and rejoiced. Surely the presence of Selena, the Lamia girl, had a hand in this. Hearing this, Dulan agreed, and promised to meet the goddess again another time. The scene shifts to days later, when Men was woken by his adorable friend to greet a new day. Excited, they rose early. He reminded Selena to knock next time before entering bad habits to avoid. Seeing his joyful face, she asked why. The young man pretended he dreamed of his old friend, hearing only good things, which left him feeling light-hearted. Just the day before, they had promised to go roast potatoes with their friend Kristinan. The little snake was eager to join. Lately, our brave knight friend has been glowing with joy, even sending letters back home to her loved ones in the kingdom of the little people. The letter's recipient. None other than the principal of the nation's grandest academy, this girl wields the power to command elemental spirits. Knowing it's from Christina, the principal eagerly opens it. At the academy, everyone knows her young Christina is the pride of the realm. Olivia watches as she eagerly hands over the letter, almost more excited than herself. Inside, Christina paints a vivid picture of life in the village of Varan. Though small, it's rich with warmth and love. The villagers face harsh climates and monsters daily, so nearly everyone knows the art of battle. She recounts her first fight alongside her deputy, Medill. True, she's strong in her village, but when matched against Christina's prowess, victory slips away. Even Medill, serious and skilled, finds herself disarmed and defeated, earning the admiration of all who witnessed. Medill humbly acknowledges Christina's extraordinary swordsmanship, and in return, Christina showers praise on her worthy opponent, lighting up the room with mutual respect. The village captain, Barlan, then hosts a celebration to welcome Christina, eager to share the village's heartfelt hospitality. The gentle warmth of the villagers captivates our night. Despite the harshness of life, the food here tastes like it's seasoned with pure love, crafted by the village girls' caring hands. At first, Christina struggles to adjust to such kindness. Her noble upbringing makes her feel distant, and the villagers' respectful deference only deepens her loneliness as she watches them laugh freely. Each evening, Christina trains alone with her sword, until one day Selena and men accidentally spot her. Approaching with warmth, Selena senses Christina's guarded heart, and, with her lovable snake-like charm, resolves to lift her spirits by inviting her home. There, Selena fills the room with positive energy, introducing Christina to a straw bed adorned with plush bears, gifts from the villagers. To Selena, it's a cozy sanctuary she wants Christina to feel. Though hesitant at first, especially with Barlan nearby, Christina can't bear to disappoint and tries the bed, soon praising the Lamia tribe's unique creation, rough in appearance but surprisingly comfortable. They share stories of early struggles. Selena, once feared as a dangerous monster, was shunned by the villagers, but here, kindness slowly bridged the divide. Barlan and his wife treat them with genuine care, their milk's so delicious it's addictive. Lately, new milk varieties are crafted for village contests, explaining why Christina often finds the townsfolk gathering at Barlan's home. The Lamia household welcomes both brothers and sisters alike. After Barlan's older brother catches a giant fish, he hosts a feast for the entire village. Selena notes how everyone here carries their own unique charm. Spotting a distant figure, she drags him onto the bed to join the fun. Unfazed, he laughs along, entertained by these fiery ladies. Days later, the village holds a new milk tasting contest. Madame Moo samples the fresh batch and praises its flavor. The elder brother then challenges some skinny young men to drink his wife's milk and grow strong. Christina and Selena join in, invited to compete. Seeing Christina's impressive stamina, the others cheer. The distance between them grows smaller, understanding blossoming. Barlan even dares to challenge her to a solo milk-drinking contest. Confident, Christina accepts. Though he's famed as the village's strongest drinker, they chug cup after cup, yet Christina shows no signs of faltering, while Barlan begins to feel the buzz. As expected, Barlan concedes defeat, his seeming bottomless stomach overshadowed by Christina's unyielding spirit. Afterwards, the villagers swarm to pat her broad shoulders, a sign of heartfelt acceptance that lifts Christina's spirits. The wife then offers her daughter's milk to Christina, initially meant for her husband who's already been bested. Tasting it, Christina finds it lighter and fresher than before, so good she asks for another glass, jumping up to hug her in delight. This marks Christina's first time savouring the milk, and thanks to Barlan and Selena, she begins feeling closer to the villagers. In her letter, she writes that Varan is a place truly worth living. The friend who reads it is amazed that Christina has befriended a Lamia creature, often feared as a dangerous monster by nobles. But this news stirs trouble. The noble class vehemently opposes any alliance with Lamias, branding them threats. The rumour's source seems to be Cayenne, who presses Olivia for details about Christina's snake-like friend. Selena is a mage working for the government, and despite being a single Lamia, her presence alone is enough to cause alarm. Recent mysterious disappearances hint at a dark scheme involving Selena. Olivia defends her, insisting Selena was blessed by the goddess Mali as gentle and friendly, yet Kien remains stubborn, demanding Selena's arrest for investigation. The village's manager appears to side with Cayenne, dispatching soldiers to capture Selena immediately. Unaware, the friends continue their lively work, oblivious to the looming threat. Even Dolan, initially clueless, quickly catches on and tries to keep order. Observing Christina's calm resolve, he resigns to treating the situation as another training exercise. Then, chaos erupts when Clash bursts in, summoning them outside at once. Christina is pulled aside by the village chief, who urgently requests her help. while Selina finds herself surrounded by soldiers under old Commissioner Guda's orders. Guda, aware that Min brought monsters to the village, questions the local priestess who reminds him that the nature goddess has recognized Selina's innocence. But they refuse to listen, citing their authority over this land and the need to eliminate all threats swiftly and decisively. Dolan realizes these soldiers mean trouble. As expected, the old man insists on escorting Selina to the capital for a safety check. Standing up for his friend, Dolan challenges Guda's doubts about the goddess's judgment. Guda coldly replies that to live here, even a Lamia must obey the kingdom's laws. Dolan asks to accompany Selina, since he brought her into the village. Underestimating him, they agree. The villagers show clear displeasure at the soldiers' harsh attitude. Yet when danger looms, the soldiers suddenly feign concern for the people's safety, a hypocritical act that only deepens the tension. Christina, filled with worry for her friends, decides to rush back to the academy and seek help from the influential principal. Perhaps she can turn the tide. They wanted to escort her to the capital to verify her safety. He spoke up, doubting Goddess Guda's verdict. They didn't care, said Lamia must still pass the kingdom's laws to live here. Men asked to accompany Selina since he led her into the village. They judged him harmless and agreed. The villagers were displeased by the soldiers' attitude, acting indifferent when needed but suddenly showing concern for their safety. Truly hypocritical. Christina was very worried for the two, so she decided to return to the academy to seek help from the influential headmaster. Maybe he could do something. Immediately she cast a strengthening spell. His body surged forward, racing non-stop toward the capital at full throttle. Meanwhile, the pair sat quietly inside the carriage. It was Selina's first time feeling this way, an unfamiliar fear creeping in. Luckily, Dolan was by her side, offering a sense of calm. He asked if she was all right, and though she smiled brightly, her eyes betrayed a flicker of terror. Dolan reassured her gently. It'll be okay, don't worry, wrapping her in an embrace that felt like the tender care of a lover. He explained, my mother always did this whenever I felt anxious, a way of easing the tension. And it really works. Finally, Selina let the tears fall, comforted by Dolan's promise to stay up all night and listen. On the other side, after racing at breakneck speed, Christina arrived at the principal's office. Seeing Selina's state, Olivia sensed what had happened and allowed her students some time to calm down. Thanks to the goddess's blessing, Selina wouldn't be expelled. The ones bringing them here were Cayenne, citing connections to the disappearances. Of course, that sounded dubious since Varan village was far away. Meanwhile, the couple was summoned to meet the old commissioner, who called them aside, hinting at something strange beneath the surface. Olivia let Selina regain her composure, assuring her she wouldn't be expelled thanks to the goddess's blessing. The one who brought them here was Cayenne, citing connections to the recent disappearances. But that seemed impossible, the Varan village was far away. On the other side, the couple was summoned to meet the elder commissioner. Something strange stirred as he called them into a secluded corner. Though the conversation was unheard, their horrified expressions spoke volumes. Christina still struggled to help Selina, while the principal revealed the harsh truth their capture was orchestrated by the central government, a cold mask of authority crafted by Kin and her faction. The young woman grew anxious but was cautioned against reckless moves. They risked charges of overstepping their bounds. Meanwhile, the other pair was brought before Kien, who feigned moral superiority in greeting the Viper. When asked about men, she disclosed her connection and followed her friend. Kien invited them to dine, while old Guda was dismissed to finish his report. Selina, delighted by the exquisite food, felt a rare warmth. The Viper claimed this as compensation for their harsh training, a gesture that softened her heart. Grateful, the Viper eagerly inquired about the documents to recognize Selina as a Varan citizen. Kyan promised the process would start tomorrow. If Selina proved her innocence, they could leave. This reassurance eased the Viper's fears. Initially surrounded by soldiers, she had braced for death, especially as a Lamia. Kien admitted such danger was real, given Selina's bloodline powers the ability to control people, one of the most feared talents. After mingling, Kien saw the snake girl as clever and beautiful. Back at the academy, the old man had returned, and Christina, initially distrustful, relaxed upon learning he was an ally. Meanwhile, the other couple enjoyed their meal until they realized it was drugged. Kien revealed her true colors, confessing she'd met many Lamias, but none as stunning as Selenath. Deep ocean blue eyes and golden hair made her unforgettable. Kien confessed her envy, craving that same beauty. As the sedative took hold, the couple collapsed. On the other side, Guda spoke of the young women vanishing in the Garloa region. Christina had heard of this casino victim had been found. They spoke of a witch rumored to be over 300 years old. Christina mistakenly suspected Principal Olivia as the kidnapper, but Guda corrected her. He insisted the witch was human, and humans can't live so long. The culprit must be using forbidden magic to remain eternally youthful. Rumors said she possessed young girls' bodies to prolong her life. Now, this witch had set her sights on a beautiful Lamia. Hearing this, Christina realized the K-Ren was the embodiment of evil, though she didn't yet grasp if Guda knew the full truth. The darkness lurking in those words hinted at a deeper nightmare-oni that would challenge their beliefs and test their bonds. If you've ever faced an enemy that seemed immortal, ask yourself, what does it take to fight shadows that never fade? Sometimes, surviving means embracing the light within, even when the world feels lost. Thanks for walking this path with me. How could they push their own friend into the tiger's den? With time slipping away for their side, action was inevitable. Christina decided to follow, needing to hear the twisted reason behind sending that couple into danger. Meanwhile, Selena lay on the operating table, helpless. The witch's eyes gleamed with cruel delight. It's been ages since she caught a pristine Lamia like this, eager to claim the creature's soft, snake-like skin. But Dolan, now awake, blocked the witch's wicked plans to harm his future wife. Confusion clouded the old woman's face as she'd dosed him with enough sleeping potion. Seeing the magical circle on the floor, Ken's expression shifted. He understood the grim truth. Asked if he was used to killing, Ken admitted he lost count long ago, lives taken as easily as snapping a string. He'd just shattered the sacred artifact made from the scales of the dragon god. Ken questioned if men was truly human, how else could she be so strong? Dolan, a white dragon king who had lived millions of years, knew such creatures couldn't be reasoned with. He stepped forward to confront her, probing how many lives she'd claimed. She smiled coldly, admitting she stopped counting past 100. Her cruelty served a dark purpose. Research. For everyone in this world, there's something beautiful and she wanted to own it all, collecting parts to keep herself forever young. Dolan recognized the forbidden magic she wielded, long banned for its darkness. He asked if she'd made a pact with the demon tribe to learn it. Ken was surprised by Men's vast knowledge, as she revealed her body was a patchwork of parts taken from powerful races. Though she'd gained longevity, she still craved more upgrades, treating other lives like stepping stones beneath her feet, discarding them without a second thought. Dolan knew this fallen witch had reached a point beyond redemption. The witch beamed proudly at her gruesome research, boasting of powerful backers shielding her from justice. That's why she'd been free to commit evil for 3 centuries without consequence. Men was delighted to see her beautiful friend hear every precious fragment of her body would be repurposed for experiments. Meanwhile, the young Lamia, now awake, heard everything and recoiled in horror at the witch's heartless deeds. Ken suggested improving the sleeping potion. Letting them wake this fast was a mistake. Selena finally understood why Commissioner Guda had gone out of his way to help. Dolan believed trash-like men always came with loud mouths. Just a few questions were enough to record all the evidence against her. Using a magical transmission device, the couple shared the entire conversation with officials listening in. Armed with solid proof, Christina and senior officers arrived. Seeing her friend show up like this filled Christina with joy until Men made a dramatic entrance. Christina scolded the reckless duo, daring to act as bait in this dangerous case. Olivia stepped forward to apologize, explaining it was a necessary risk after all. Selena was in the witch's crosshairs. Men retorted with her tragic story how those born with beauty could never understand her suffering. Ken realized that from childhood, Men saw beauty as a curse. Each glance in the mirror reminded her of her ugliness, a face that clashed with her desire to love beauty itself. From there, a string of murders followed each young woman, a victim of men's obsession to steal beauty. Using forbidden magic, she could graft parts from others onto herself, backed by the demon tribe's dark power. Her life's mission twisted into a desperate grasp for beauty she could never truly attain, especially when compared to the truly magnificent fairy race, like Olivia. Now that her plans were ruined, centuries of effort felt meaningless. Though obsessed with beauty, Men's body had become a grotesque monster from all the unnatural grafts. Yet Ken still wanted the Lamia for his collection. The battle erupted. Christina asked about the creature, and Dolan explained it was a hybrid of countless species, proof of Men's pact with the demon tribe. She had to be stopped immediately. Soldiers were powerless against the huge, monstrous form. Seeing her friends in danger, Selena used her eye's power to control the fight, but it was fleeting. Just as Men prepared to strike, Christina bravely stepped in, wielding a special sword to sever the witch's tentacles, causing her agony. Men hardened her body like armor, sprouting hundreds of eyes to track their every move. She unleashed a toxic black magic smoke toward Christina. While Christina held her ground, Dolan drew a magic circle, aiming to resolve this quietly. If the witch's body was destroyed here, the environment would suffer. The principal wanted to help but couldn't summon spirits. Suddenly, Men shouted for everyone to clear the way. She'd finish this herself. Christina trusted Dolan and stepped back. Olivia found it strange. Dolan combined high-level magic with a protective barrier. Dolan aimed to eliminate the threat without collateral damage. Seeing men's madness, he unleashed the heavenly spear, a storm of billions of blades piercing the grotesque witch, slicing her into pieces until nothing remained. Thanks to the protective barrier, the explosion caused no harm to others. This evidence would expose all accomplices to the witch's evil. Days later, the couple stayed at the principal's arranged home, while paperwork was processed for Selena. Dolan tutored Selena, who struggled reading the documents, and joked about wanting to explode her brain. Christina visited to check on the two, and the principal Olivia and Commissioner Gooda arrived late, busy handling the aftermath of the case. They thanked Dolan sincerely. Selena was shocked when Gooda bowed, refusing to accept thanks, saying he did nothing special. Initially, the couple was surprised to be used as bait, suspecting Gooda was the villain, but his act was to gain the witch's trust. In truth, he was kind-hearted. Thankfully, Dolan brought an antidote from their master, which worked immediately, allowing escape. Today, Gooda also brought Selena's residency permit for Veron village. The snake girl couldn't be happier. She was now a citizen of the kingdom. The principal mentioned a familiar visitor wanting to meet the pair Ren, the master's son, who was close friends with Dolan. Guru had sent greetings as well, sealing this chapter with new bonds and hope. If you've ever felt trapped in a world that judges by appearances, remember men's tragic fall, a desperate soul chasing beauty in all the wrong places. Sometimes, what we seek can consume us, turning us into monsters of our own making. And if you stood where Christina and Dolan stood, would you risk everything to protect a friend, even against overwhelming darkness? Let's hold close these stories where battles are not just of strength, but of heart, and where even the smallest light can guide us through the shadows. Thanks for sharing this journey with me. Until next time, may your own story find its strength in friendship, courage, and the unbreakable will to protect those we love. She wrote to him about Selen's situation, hoping to lend a hand if possible. Then, she invited the two younger siblings for a stroll around the city, a rare chance to explore. The market here bustled with every kind of treasure imaginable. The snake girl noticed the boy drop something and kindly picked it up for him, but to her surprise, they were met with prejudiceable as monsters. Doran stepped in to comfort her, though she was used to such cold stares by now. Ren also stood up, returning the item to his little brother. The three friends were allowed to return to their village, the crisis resolved. Taking advantage of the moment, the older brother asked if the little one wanted to enroll in the academy. The principal had high praise for his talents, saying it would be a waste to leave such magic untapped, but he declined, feeling the village still needed him. Olivia then stepped forward, speaking of the soul within him. If he wanted to protect everyone, she believed he needed to broaden his knowledge at the academy. For now, the invitation would remain open. If Duran wished, he could come any time. On the way back, Christina asked about his choice. He loved his village dearly, and with the power of the dragon god, Doran could protect them all if he truly tried. Naturally, Selena didn't want him to leave. Her feelings for this young man ran deep, but Christina thought the academy would be a valuable place for him to grow. Cut to a mysterious forest where dire trouble brewed. Thousands of monsters released by the demon tribe readied to invade the world. The elf clan living in the forest were the first to suffer. The black ants, fierce and relentless, could kill with a single strike. The goblin warriors had already fallen, powerless to stop them. Some survivors arrived, witnessing this nightmare and growing deeply worried. Nearby, a wounded man faintly warned of the looming threat called Demon Peace. Back in the peaceful village of Veran, today Doran and Christina trained the children. Raised from a young age, their foundation was solid, just needing strength to swing swords like adults. Captain Doran announced a 30-minute break. Watching this, Selena recalled the academy invitation from before. Surely, he'd grow faster there. She wondered if Doran would leave her behind, to journey to that distant place. Just then, she noticed the kids daring to slide down the snake's tail as a playground and chased them away with a scolding. Seeing this scene warmed her heart. It seemed she was slowly becoming part of the village. May these beautiful moments last forever. Christina later asked Doran to explore the forest, having heard of many dangerous beasts there. Lately, her usual training bored her. She wanted to test herself against real threats. Doran was far from pleased, warning her not to take such risks, but Christina insisted she had good reasons. Since N.B. couldn't herd pigs, she had to do it instead. Plus, the forest was full of acorns, the pig's favorite food. She believed helping the village grow was a worthy cause. No matter how much Doran argued, she was set on going. So, reluctantly, he agreed. Soon, the pig herding guard team was formed, fully geared to face the wild beasts. Monsters had been appearing more often lately, so caution was necessary. As for Christina and Selena, there was little to worry about. They both had formidable skills. The forest air felt much fresher too. Christina thought if anyone needed stress relief, this was the perfect place to heal. Selena agreed living in the woods had its charms, though it could get lonely. To ensure the pigs stayed safe from predators, the team remained vigilant, ready to face any danger lurking in the shadows. The team had spread out to keep watch, with Captain Barlan warning his comrades to stay alert. This place saw few visitors, and any sound could only mean one thing: monsters. No sooner had he finished than the hefty soldier found himself the target of a deadly sword-tongued tiger. Though not the forest's father, this beast was powerful and venomous to boot, sending a chill down the soldier's spine. Luckily, Captain Barlan's quick reflexes turned near disaster into a narrow escape. Just when it seemed calm, a swarm of giant ants appeared. Hearing their cries, men and 2 female comrades rushed to investigate, thankfully arriving just in time, so Lan called on Christina to lend a hand. None had ever seen creatures like these before, but men recognized them instantly, not monsters, but demon constructs born from the dark denizens of the demon realm. These were just low-tier scouts sent to spy, yet they had managed to wound Captain Barlan. Men called them scum, surprising Christina, who revealed she'd read about these creatures in ancient texts. Though foolish, these demons moved with terrifying speed and strength. Men aimed to stall one long enough for Christina to strike with ranged magic. So Lan's surprise attack landed hard. It was powerful, but still not enough to finish the job. The decisive blow came from Christina, who banished the creature into the void. Men pleaded for secrecy, fearing that if it were known demons had attacked, chaos would engulf everything. That evening, everyone involved gathered for a meeting. The village chief had just checked on Captain Bar. Lanny's wounds were serious but not life-threatening, though rest was essential. Others worried about the sword-tongued tiger attack, yet the bigger mystery was the true identity of their assailant. Christina inquired if such beasts often appeared in the forest, but the chief admitted this was the first report of strange creatures here. The demon origin of the attack was kept hidden. The greatest concern was the village's morale. Barlan was their strongest warrior, and news of his injury would surely spread panic. Men realized that even the sudden appearance of a sword-tongued tiger was shocking enough to them, so the demon threat was far more dire. Wondering what secrets lurked in the forest, Maguru approached to report that Captain Barlan had regained consciousness. Upon examining his wounds, she noted the cuts were not from any ordinary beast. They held a power far greater. She was certain they were facing a creature difficult to combat. Men asked his master if he could investigate the forest's strange happenings. Maguru agreed, but stressed that no matter what, the villagers needed to learn to coexist with these forces, as was common in borderlands, living in harmony with nature, returning to the earth in death. Men's mind raced with the challenge of taming nature, believing sometimes one must act decisively to secure the future for the children. Hesitation now would lead to regret later. With that, Maguru consented to his investigation, but insisted he take a partner for support and safety. Christina immediately volunteered, but the village chief stopped her, fearing for her safety and recalling promises made to Commissioner Gouda to protect her. Then Selena stepped forward, her unique eyes sure to aid men in many ways. Men wanted to go alone, but saw the serious look in Selena's eyes and agreed. Christina was advised to stay behind. This was a village matter they must learn to face. The elders sealed the deal. Men and Selena could go, but their safety was paramount. If danger struck, they were to retreat immediately. They promised to return unharmed, or else face the consequences of being forbidden to go again. The next morning, the pair set off with an overwhelming load of gear, carried expertly by Selena. For the first time in a while, they had time alone together. Hearing this, the little snake felt as if he were being flirted with and thrilled, eager to prove himself useful and worthy of recognition, vowing not to be a burden on men. With Selena's mesmerizing eyes that could manipulate others, they seemed unstoppable. Upon reaching the forest edge, men spotted Christina nearby and greeted her cheerfully, pretending nothing was amiss. Men thought she must have been forbidden from coming, but found she had simply come for fresh air, secretly wishing to help. Men acknowledged this was their problem to solve, but Christina's deep love for Varan village led her to dedicate herself to its people without question. Men fell silent, while Selena agreed it was good to have another ally for support. If she were in Christina's shoes, she'd do the same. Men suggested they travel in the same direction, but not let Christina lead or follow directly. Soon after entering, they faced a swarm of giant spiders. Selena took the lead, distracting the monsters while the duo showed their skill. Though many, these creatures were weak and easy to overcome. Suddenly, another beast appeared, worrying Christina. Strangely, Selena stepped forward and offered it an apple, making friends instantly. Turning to men, Christina saw an even bigger shock. Selena was carrying 7 baby monkeys. She had never seen such obedient monsters before. Not only did they accept the offering, but they even apologized for frightening them. Things seemed peaceful enough to stop and rest, feeding the baby monkeys, who looked pitiful. Christina wondered how this was possible. Whoever sat down to eat with monsters? When asked if they were afraid, Selena said she was dangerous too, so fear was mutual. Christina had grown so close to Selena she'd unconsciously forgotten this fact. Selena's upper body was human, but the baby monkeys were different. Men pulled out a jarnut of dung, but jam made by his sister Moo for the two girls to try, a new delicacy from their family. Selena was thrilled. Christina curled up shyly, guided by the little snake to bond with the monkeys. Watching them eat, Christina realized they were adorable, so she gently petted their heads. Their hunger was simple, with no ill intent. If attacked, it would only be over food. Men was surprised. Such a strong monkey mother was driven away from her habitat. Perhaps the giant spiders they'd encountered earlier were the same. No worries, and good morning, Lan greeted, surprised to see her friend not grounded but out here. Selena shrugged. Just came out for some fresh air, but deep down she wanted to help. Men said this was a problem they had to solve themselves, yet she loved Veron village dearly and was willing to fight for its people beyond right or wrong. Hearing this, Dolan had nothing to add. Selena felt it was good to have her friend along for backup if needed. If she were Christina, she'd probably do the same. Men suggested they travel in the same direction, not that Christina was following. Soon, inside, they encountered a swarm of giant spiders. Selena took the lead, holding the monsters at bay so the duo could showcase their skills. Despite the numbers, these creatures weren't strong, making the fight manageable. Suddenly, a different beast appeared, making Christina anxious. But to everyone's surprise, Selena stepped forward and handed it an apple. That simple gesture turned a potential enemy into an ally. Looking at Dolan, he was even more amazed, carrying 7 of these monkeys at once. Never had he seen a monster so obedient. Not only did it take the offering, but also apologized for scaring them. With tensions eased, the group paused to rest and feed the 7 little monkeys, who looked pitifully hungry. Christina wondered, how did we end up sharing a meal with monsters? When asked if they were scared, the pair replied that Selena was just as dangerous a creature. Christina's close friendship made her forget that fact unconsciously. Selena was partly human, but those 7 monkeys were something else entirely. Men pulled out a jarno, a jar of jam her sister had made as a new family product, which thrilled Selena. Christina curled up nervously, then the little snake guided her to befriend the baby monkeys. Watching them eat was oddly endearing, so the sword-wielding Christina tried petting their heads. They were just hungry, with no ill intent. If attacked, it would probably be over food. Dolan was surprised that such a strong monkey mother had been driven out of her habitat. Maybe those giant spiders they'd fought earlier were the same. This hinted at something serious happening deep in the forest. Christina tried the bread made by Dolan's mother, delicious enough to praise him, earning a proud smile. As they shared food and moments with these creatures, the line between friend and foe blurred. The forest hid secrets darker than the monsters themselves, and our heroes stood at the edge of an unfolding mystery. In this world where trust can form in the most unexpected places, the bonds of friendship and courage shine brightest. If you've ever felt lost among shadows, perhaps this story whispers a truth. Sometimes, the most unlikely allies become our greatest strength. And as the sun dipped behind the trees, our heroes prepared to face whatever lay ahead. In a realm where danger lurks and hope flickers, it's not just power that saves lives, but the courage to believe, even when the world turns cold. Stay with them, as their journey is just beginning. Thanks for sharing this path with me. They marinated and dried the meat until it was tender. A meal like this in the wild, surrounded by monsters, felt like a thrilling adventure. Selena complimented her swordsman friend, calling her truly beautiful while she ate. Feeling shy, she noticed a certain charm in her, as if Christina had stepped out of a classic painting. Flattered, she thought they might be teasing her. Selena then asked if she could share how to be more alluring. She said it would help her friend boost her charm magic. Dolan replied, "Why bother? You're already beautiful." Those words were like a confirmation that she was already attractive enough for him, making Selena thrilled, thinking she no longer needed to find a soulmate and might even get married soon. She acted shy, suspecting Dolan was hiding his feelings because he was shy around girls, yet somehow she treated this like. Suddenly, something dark threatened to consume everything. Out of nowhere, a glowing orb appeared. It was a fairy, badly wounded. She tried to warn them to flee, but monsters were closing in. Sure enough, it was the undead army from before. Dolan fought fiercely, slaying them. Selena sent the monkeys away for safety, and the 2 swordsmen coordinated to wipe out the rest. This time, the monsters came in overwhelming numbers. Surrounded, Selena was quickly supported by Dolan's rain of energy attacks. His Tum-Sa skill packed a punch but couldn't be spammed, so they kept fighting with swords. Faced with a coordinated assault from 2 beasts at once, Dolan had no choice but to unleash his draconic power. Transforming his arm, he crushed one monster's skull with brutal ease. But living as a human using this power weighed heavy on him. Dolan felt a pang of guilt toward his parents, the ones who gifted him this fragile human form. Yet when the stakes were this high, sacrifices had to be made. Meanwhile, Christina fought valiantly and when threatened, was rescued by Selena. Grateful, the little snake humbly said she was fine on her own. Selena admired this quiet strength. It was her unique charm shining through, earning her praise and a shy smile. The fairy, now stable after being saved, thanked them. Surprised to see humans accompanying the Lamia tribe, she introduced herself and shared her story how she'd been chased by undead warriors moments ago. Hearing this, Dolan pieced together that the monster's retreat from the forest wasn't random, it was reconnaissance. A dark storm was brewing, and terrible things were about to unfold. Christina asked the fairy, Myrrh, for more details since they were investigating the forest's strange changes. Myrrh admitted their side was in trouble but couldn't ally just yet. Suddenly, realizing they were surrounded, Dolan sensed no hostility and stopped his friend from drawing her sword, showing friendliness by lowering his weapon. Selena understood, closing her eyes to calm the tension. This forced Christina to comply, and then the elf tribe appeared, demanding the tiny fairy stay away from the others. Dolan felt irritated. Why was he being treated like the villain? Tensions rose until the fairy explained these were her saviors. The elf commander understood and stepped forward, expressing gratitude for rescuing Myrrh. Both girls grew cautious, standing close to Dolan as the forest belonged to the elves, who shunned contact with other tribes. The elves questioned why they had come. Dolan introduced himself as a resident of Varan village and explained the sudden monster attacks near their home, prompting their investigation. He admitted fault for not seeking the elves' permission first. Hearing this, the elf commander softened, relieved it wasn't hostile intrusion, and advised the trio to leave since the situation was dire. Dolan mentioned the undead tribe, surprising the elf leader who realized Dolan already knew about them. The forest's inhabitants were struggling against this dark force. Christina, curious, asked if the elves had plans to defend against this looming disaster. As a noble concern for her people, she inquired about their numbers and weaponry, showing her deep care for those around her and the seriousness of the threat ahead. The looming threat of annihilation pushed her to the brink, her nerves fraying as she grabbed Gio by the collar, desperate for help, forcing the other two to step in and calm her down. Christina spoke of their village's dire peril, urging the group to lend their strength, not just for Varan's people, but for the entire forest. If this woodland fell, the demon clans would surely spread their darkness far and wide. Her fierce determination shone through. The warriors began to loosen their grip, moved by her passion, but Christina soon realized she might have overstepped and apologized. Selena assured her it wasn't wrong. A concern for the elf tribe was genuine. The others, too, felt grateful to their savior, impressed not only by her kindness but her strength. Defeating the ant horde on their first meeting was no small feat. Their group held the rare ingredients for trust. With Selena in their ranks, it was impossible for the snake tribe to distrust humans. This fragile bond began to solidify. Dolan felt a surge of hope. Christina's fierce spirit was a beacon in this dark hour. Having lived through countless ages, he understood the true peril of the gateway linking the demon realm to the forest. If only low-ranked demons spilled through, it might be manageable, but if the portal fully opened, unleashing the high demons, it would be catastrophic. Dolan was resolved to eliminate them before that nightmare came true. Even if his dragon soul's secret was revealed and he was cast out, he wouldn't hesitate to wield that power to protect the village. He stepped forward with a bold proposal, knowing this was no ordinary battle. From Dolan's perspective, the elf tribe couldn't face this alone. He asked for permission for him and his team to temporarily aid in repelling the demon forces. Though this broke the sacred laws of the forest, the desperate situation left no choice. Gio's sister understood the heavy burden her brother bore as leader, but she and the tribe gave their full support. No hesitation was needed. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Dolan vowed that his group would watch their own backs, so the elves could fight freely without fearing they'd become a liability. As the two young men reached out to shake hands, a thunderous noise shattered the moment the battle had erupted. Shock rippled through them all at the surge of dark energy, but Dolan felt an eerie familiarity. He had faced this darkness before, at least once. Across the sky, the demon realm's gate had half opened, and 3 monstrous demons stepped through, enough to threaten the fragile peace of the forest. Gio wanted to retreat and defend immediately. Without hesitation, men lent his aid, summoning wind magic to empower their speed as they raced back toward the village. The trio of demons surveyed the human lands, deeming it a worthy prize to offer their dark lord. They were the vanguard, clearing the path. Beyond them awaited a far stronger force, trapped behind the portal's barrier, its mana too vast to cross yet. The red demon, bored, decided to explore the area, sensing the presence of an elf village and eager to see who would find it first. The winner's reward? Unleashed slaughter. Rosier invited Jeren to join this grim game, but he disdained fighting the weak, focused solely on his duty, leaving the fun to his comrades. Jealous advanced toward the largest tree, while the female demon was captivated by the flower's scent, choosing to express affection to the strange flora first. Meanwhile, the elf village struggled desperately against the ant-hor-death battle dragging on endlessly. No one understood where these monsters came from or why there were so many. Even worse, Jealous arrived, declaring himself one of the 4 dark knights of the demon realm, announcing total war. With a powerful strike, he shattered the elf tribe's walls, plunging them into chaos. Panic swept through the elves. This enemy was unlike any they'd faced. Meanwhile, Dolan's group raced desperately, receiving urgent news from the spirits. The demons attacked from the north, the high-ranked foes men had warned about. Geo ordered others to reinforce the southwestern defenses, but obstacles blocked their path, delaying their return. The demon reveled in slaughtering the elf warriors, their screams fueling his twisted joy. Nearby, a lone figure remained, targeted by the fiend. Fortunately, the forest's guardian spirits emerged, their natural power restraining the demon. The black rose slowly drained his blood and mana. War erupted everywhere. Dolan unleashed wide-area magic, clearing a path for retreating soldiers. Christina and Selena fought fiercely to finish off the remaining demons. As the undead hordes pressed on, men urged them to hold longer, handing over magical crystals that briefly boosted their power artifacts he'd previously retrieved from the swamp. Selena, the swordswoman, activated a whirlwind that swept away the enemies blocking their path. Christina matched her, conjuring sharp spikes that pierced the demon soldiers. Men refused to let the enemy break through, summoning a great flame to incinerate the rest. Witnessing this, Geo was stunned by their strength. He even teased them, but deep down he wanted to rely more on these allies. This was Dolan's way of proving their worth. Back on the battlefield, Jealous remained trapped under Diodora's control. She accused him of ravaging the forest's life and slaughtering the elf warriors. Though cornered, Jealous arrogantly claimed innocence, blaming the world's weakness for his destruction. Diodora regarded him as a proud but flawed foe. Just as she prepared a finishing blow, Rosier flew in to aid her, dispelling the Black Rose's power. Seeing this, Men wasn't about to let them get ahead. He cast a blazing inferno, annihilating the remaining enemies. Witnessing such power, Guayo was stunned. They were stronger than expected. He teased them lightly, but deep down he wanted to lean on these 3 more. This was Dolan's way of showing his friend how invaluable the group was, urging trust. Back on the battlefield, Gus was still trapped by Diodora's control. She blamed him for destroying the forest's plants and slaughtering the elf warriors. Though cornered, Gus boldly challenged her, insisting he was innocent, claiming the weakness of others was really to blame. Hearing this, Diodora took him seriously as a worthy opponent, but also saw his arrogance. As she launched her final strike, Rosier swooped in to back her up, destroying Diodora's Black Rose spell. Rosier called Diodora the Flower Spirit, a wielder of potent magic compared to the others. Meanwhile, the others returned to their village, finding that area still safe. But elsewhere, chaos reigned, so they split up to reinforce their forces. 2 demon clan members were fighting, but still chatting casually. Gus ordered his teammates not to interfere. He wanted to defeat Diodora to prove his strength. Rosier felt she was the best match to face the Flower Spirit. She told her friend it was time to step aside. Feeling underestimated, the other girl used telepathy to call for reinforcements, but to everyone's surprise, no one answered. Later, Rosier pulled out the flowers she had destroyed. She explained she'd arrived late because she'd been playing with other flower spirits. She recounted how she mercilessly wiped out Diodora's comrades, fueling her desire for revenge. Seeing this, the 2 others grew more excited, thinking Diodora didn't need to get angry. Flowers always compete to be the most beautiful. Now, only the Black Rose remained. She should be proud, not upset. Provoked, Diodora lost her cool, exposing many openings in her assault on Rosier. Rosier's skills caused the plant spirits to wither, completely suppressing the Black Rose's powers. Diodora found herself hanging by a thread. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't reach her foe. Yet still, she fought with unyielding spirit. Waiting for Rosier's moment of distraction, she successfully struck a glancing blow that drew a sliver of blood, driving the Black Rose into a furious rage. The flower taunted back. The more beautiful the bloom, the sharper its thorns. She wanted them to remember that, and never underestimate others. Rosier grew serious, declaring the other had broken a sacred taboo by daring to harm her beautiful face. Both sides powered up, but one teammate couldn't take it anymore and charged in to gang up on Diodora. She tried to block with a wall of vines, but his raw strength was overwhelming, blowing her away. Rosier followed with a poisonous strike that made the flower spirit's body rot. They pressed their assault, aiming to give their enemy a painful death. Just then, Dolan sensed the danger. He descended from the sky, threatening the two attackers directly. They were caught off guard, stunned to see a human before them. After checking on Diodora, Dolan confirmed she was still standing. Gus, watching the foe turn away, seethed with frustration and swung his blade, but Christina jumped in, blocking his arm. Dolan struck again, slashing the throat not deep enough to kill. The poisonous flower counterattacked from a blind spot, but unexpectedly, she was the one hit. Turns out elf warriors were hiding nearby, supporting from the shadows. This was their village, every vantage point covered, no target escaping their aim. The Black Rose spirit withered under the relentless attack. As they lunged to deliver a painful death, Dolan sensed the danger immediately and swooped down from above, threatening the two attackers. They were baffled to find a human standing before them. The young man calmly asked if she was all right. Gus watched, frustrated as their opponent turned away, only to be met with a sudden strike. Christina joined the fight, blocking Gus's arm. Dolan struck again, slashing toward the throat, though not deeply enough. The poison flower launched a surprise counterattack. Unexpectedly, it was Dolan who took the hit. It turned out the elf warriors were hiding, supporting from the rear. This was their village. Every angle was a shooting advantage, and as soon as the blackbone dissipated, no target was out of reach. Raffia was furious at being underestimated. Suddenly, an even more terrifying presence emerged, signaling bad news. A piercing magical energy tore through the sky. It was the last member of the four great knights. This warrior was mightier than the other three combined, explaining why he had only just arrived. Jealous, prideful, vowed to crush them before the final member even appeared. As he gathered his strength, another surge of magic distracted everyone. It was Selena, who had charged her energy and joined the battle to help the elves escape annihilation. After witnessing needless deaths, she was furious. Summoning the 8 great serpents, she launched a fierce attack. The Black Flower was intrigued. She wanted to absorb that immense mana, but Men was waiting for the opportune moment. As the enemy got trapped, Men fired a spell, sending her flying. Diodora then slammed the foe to the ground, mocking the ugly flower to know its place. That stung. She targeted them again, but the monster was already restrained by Selena, powerless. Men praised her friend's efforts and took charge of the rest. He chanted spells, conjuring earth and fire magic, transforming them into the spear of judgment meant for Jealous, but suddenly sensing another presence, he shifted his target. Jeren, seeing the grim situation for his 2 comrades, rushed to assist. Standing beside Selena, he mocked the enemy's pathetic state and declared he would duel the snake girl. Taken by surprise, G lost focus, allowing that bastard to escape. He didn't want interference. Jeren, seeing the dire situation for his 2 comrades, rushed in to assist. Standing beside Selena, he sneered at the pathetic foe and declared he'd face the snake girl himself. Caught off guard, the small serpent lost focus, letting the scoundrel slip free. He refused any interference in his duel, unwilling to share the spotlight. Seizing the moment, he lunged at Selena, but Doran reacted instantly, though the swordsman was quicker, deflecting the attack twice, leaving the monster stunned and unsure how Christina had saved her. Gus called the opponent a member of the super-resilient breed, explaining that's why he was so tough. Christina, confused by the terminology, guessed it was a Marjay term. Because of Christina's intervention, the enemy shifted focus and challenged the girl to a duel. She was thrilled this was no mere warm-up. Activating her awakened spirit sword ability, Jello's excitement soared. The big brute was strong but slow, and Christina effortlessly dodged his attacks, searching for an opening to strike. She found the blind spot and plunged in. The strike should have killed him, but the beast was stubborn, quickly staunching the wound to keep fighting. He'd never been hurt like this by humans before, and begrudgingly praised her skill. To balance their speed gap, Gus ramped up his endurance. Meanwhile, the little serpent faced Geron, who seemed the easiest among the 4 knights from Marjay. He let Selena attack first, successfully holding the enemy in place, telling Doran to leave this one to him. The snake girl unleashed dark magic, burning the opponent's body, but it wasn't enough to break his resolve. The butcher praised her energy, so she summoned a giant serpent to coil around him. Yet it was nothing. The snakes of Marjay were far fiercer. Jeren, curious about the snake girl's strength, challenged her to choke him to death, testing her limits. This was Selena's weakness, hesitation to kill, even an enemy. The big brute grew frustrated by her half-heartedness, despising those who fought half measures in life-or-death battles. Selena was in danger when Men rushed in, blocking the blow and channeling dragon energy into his fist for a powerful punch. The force shocked the enemy, who had no idea how Doran had become so determined, unlike his own friend. If they could finish them now, it would be ideal, but these were 4 knights. They wouldn't fall after a few strikes. Suddenly, the final enemy arrived, halting Duran's fight. Judging by his seemingly endless mana source and his warrior's form, the elven men's worry deepened. With 3 tough foes already challenging them, now this new presence appeared. Fortunately, the demon soldiers outside had been cleared, so victory over these 4 would ensure safety. Though men's identity was unknown, standing unshaken before Margier Iselite intrigued Job. Despite being stronger than Jeren, he apologized for intervening. The newcomer understood men's nature and stepped back, letting them duel. Job, always seeking thrills when facing strong enemies, admired the seasoned warrior's aura. Doran sensed his opponent sought the rush of battle and welcomed it. Centuries ago, this warrior had found no equal on the surface world, promising an epic fight. Doran struck first, introducing himself. George was surprised, recognizing the name but uncertain of any connection. Physically, Doran couldn't match the demon warrior being human but channeling dragon energy. He repelled an attack, shocking his foe. Job's intuition sharpened. He seemed to know who this young man was, and urged caution in using dragon power. They exchanged blows relentlessly. Doran's agility shone as he cast projectiles, while the enemy wielded triple sword style alongside a shield, rendering magic nearly useless. Witnesses were stunned. Though Doran struck more, dominance remained unclear. The 2 warriors exchanged mutual respect. Job was amazed that Men, a human, was so powerful. Conversely, Doran initially thought Men was a demon like the others, but learned he was a fallen Goda, former deity who had fallen into darkness. George found this hard to believe. Though he didn't know who M was, standing before a top demon realm warrior without flinching thrilled Job. Even stronger than Jeren, he apologized for interfering with his teammate. The other understood the man's nature and didn't object, stepping back to let them duel. Job had always sought joy in battling strong foes. That's why he radiated the aura of a seasoned warrior. Dolan knew his opponent craved the thrill of battle and was ready. He revealed that centuries ago, this warrior hadn't met anyone on Earth who matched his skill, promising an epic fight. Dolan struck first, introducing himself. George was surprised, saying he knew the name but wasn't sure if there was any connection. Physically, Dolan couldn't match the demon warrior. As a human, he was outclassed. But when he unleashed his dragon power, he repelled the attack, shocking his opponent. Job seemed to recognize the young man's identity, realizing this meant he had to hold back on using the dragon god's full strength. And so, the 2 continued their fierce battle. Dolan moved with a fluid grace in battle, unleashing magic arrows, but the other responded with a triple sword technique paired with a shield, rendering most magic nearly useless. Witnesses were stunned. Though Dolan struck more often, it was still unclear who held the upper hand. Both warriors exchanged silent respect. Joss was amazed how could a mere human wield such overwhelming power. Meanwhile, Dolan initially seemed like one of the demon clan, like the other 3, but no, his true origin was far nobler, a former deity, a god fallen into dark magic. Hearing this, George found it hard to believe. Dolan hinted at secrets Joss was hiding but chose silence, allowing their clash to unfold freely. Dolan worried if he fought using only his human form, he wouldn't last long, yet unleashing his dragon power might destroy the entire elf village before he could defeat the 4 knights. Not wanting to waste words, Joss unleashed his masterful swordsmanship, overwhelming Dolan with lightning-fast strikes that left no openings. Dolan could only dodge, but when he finally landed a hit, it barely fazed Joss. Realizing this back and forth wouldn't win him the fight, Dolan summoned a sliver of his dragon energy within. Outside, Rafia and Jealous, bored watching, charged in to help, only to be stopped by Jeron, who blocked their interference. Seeing their foes try to kill him with mere scraps of power, Dolan retaliated with a stronger technique. Only Joss seemed to sense the shift in fighting style, growing more certain of his suspicions. The 2 fools suffered heavy blows and quickly recognized their place. One teammate apologized for the disturbance but was confident that surprise attacks wouldn't topple Joss. Joss intensified his magic, preparing his ultimate strike. Once, a god himself, Joss wielded divine power from heaven, aiming to crush Dolan with a single devastating blow. If Dolan could withstand this attack, Joss would acknowledge him as a worthy rival. This was one of Joss's proudest ultimate moves, one few could endure. Selena watched in deep worry, while Dolan cracked a confident smile. Joss wondered, would Dolan block or perish here? Unexpectedly, Dolan gathered just enough dragon power to blow that mighty attack into oblivion. Everyone was stunned by this display. Joss had finally met a truly formidable opponent. To even set foot on this battlefield, they'd signed a pact with fate, but facing Dolan made it all worthwhile. Dolan declared he wasn't here to fight for sport. Joss knew Dolan hadn't unleashed his full might yet, mindful of his friend's safety, so he called a halt for now. He declared to the forest's residents, Join the demon forces or fight to the death. 3 days to decide. Joss ordered his comrades to retreat. Today's battle was enough. Iron Man advised Selena. If she continued hiding fear from their enemy, next time she'd surely die. The 2 others, though bitter, obeyed. Dolan vowed to repay this debt next time. Christina's fierce resolve promised that after 3 days, she'd make Joss taste Rosia's wrath, a promise fueled by spite. Scene skipped as per instructions, no subtitle, 192 to 210. Diodorus swore she would torment her until V was freed. She sought revenge for her comrades and family, so a deadly fight was inevitable. For these 3 days, no attacks would come, but when time's up, they'd face him with all their might. Joss still couldn't grasp that he'd personally battle the dragon god in human form. Fate's cruelty was unrelenting. The little snake rushed forward, embracing the young man she loved, terrified something might happen to him. That smile from before sent chills down their spines. "Don't worry," the youth said, "not a scratch on me." Christina and the snake friend were fine too. More importantly, they had many questions for him after witnessing that breathtaking fight. Now, they had to talk. They met with the elf tribe, the Green Forest's residents, who were grateful for the reduced casualties. Geo led the trio to the village elder and 2 other important figures. The elder, already knowing about Men, thanked them for saving Mo, and now standing to protect the village. Men's power surpassed human understanding, so they invited a key figure from the town, the headmaster. Olivia, also a village resident, had witnessed Men's abilities before. She thanked Dolan for his help and explained she was born here but chose to live outside the forest to gain knowledge. Upon hearing of her people's plight, she returned immediately. Unexpectedly, the trio arrived at the elder's place, who spoke on the main issue. They wouldn't wait idly. In the coming days, they planned a full assault on the gate. Destroy that, and the powerful foes would be forced to leave this world. Those 4 relied on energy from the gate, making this strategy perfect for such a critical moment. Rather than waiting to die, they'd fight fiercely even if defeated. They'd stop the villain's plan to destroy their world. If victorious, the occupied forest would heal. Agreeing with the elders, the group pledged their strength for tomorrow's battle. The elder didn't want to owe too many favors, but it was clear their power would be the main force. The fact that the 3 strongest tribes had to beg for help was humiliating. Yet, facing such danger, the elder set pride aside. The spider tribe felt incredibly lucky to be invited by these 3. Olivia assured everyone that Christina, Selena, and Dolan were trustworthy. She also requested the kingdom's aid, promising soldiers would soon arrive. What awaited was nothing less than an epic battle. The battle ahead is vast, tied deeply to Enui's fate across many realms. They must craft a flawless strategy to face the 4 knights from the demon world. After the last clash, they learnt the strengths and weaknesses of these foes, and felt the fierce determination of the 3 tribes to protect their forest. So, he vowed within himself to do everything possible to turn that fierce desire into reality. He promised he wouldn't let anyone down. The 2 girls shared the same resolve, swearing to wipe out every monster from this land. The scene shifts to the 4 demon world knights. Rosia and Gus are venting their frustration on the demon soldiers for failing to defeat their enemies. Jaren urges them to calm down, reminding them these soldiers didn't just sprout from trees, and during total war, where would they find more? He asks Jaw to hold them back, but Jaw couldn't care less. This guy knows the fiery fighting spirit boiling inside those 2. It's impossible to hold back, so better let them vent on the ants. In truth, every one of them craves a rematch with their group. Jaren observes that the young serpent girl is still raw, but her potential is immense. If she learns to unleash her true power, she'll become a fascinating opponent. Jaren certainly wants to face Dolan, believing an unforgettable battle is on the horizon after years of dull victories. He hasn't felt this anticipation in a long time. Jaren assesses Dolan as possessing everything a warrior needs, from unyielding will to formidable combat skills and unmatched mana reserves. It reminds him of a battle long ago in the Celestial Realm when he was part of the God's Legion standing against the Demon Clan. After a fierce fight with monsters, all were exhausted except the White Dragon King. Alone, he kept pushing back the demon forces. That image remains etched deep in Yor's mind. He's heard that the goddess Ma'ali is a friend of the dragon god, and managed to summon this mighty being for aid. The ancient dragon god, once a slayer of countless demons, now lives in human form. To Jaw, the White Dragon King is the name that strikes fear into others, the one who ended the war and ushered in a new era for the world. No matter what happens next, this will surely be a legendary clash of dragons and beasts. Back with Men, after the meeting, he seizes a moment to flirt. Diodora stands alone, looking sorrowful, the last remaining rose spirit. When he asks why she's here, she warns him not to come closer, but before long he's right beside her. A true illusionist, this young man is deeply worried about his injured friend, especially with tomorrow's battle looming. He can't let things stay like this. The Black Rose is surprised that men detected Rosia's poison. She's hiding it to keep everyone calm. Seeing her walking around normally despite her condition impresses him. Men channels life energy from the dragon to her, but it's actually a cleansing spell from the start. She senses Dolan is strange, unsure if he's even human. The young man humbly says he'd be grateful if she treated him like an ordinary person. Diodora shares her sorrow for the other rose spirits. Among those roses were a few truly beautiful souls who deserved better fates. That's why she's determined to take revenge, and she will. Hearing this, Dolan offers his help, bringing joy to her. She thanks him for healing her, promising she can fight tomorrow without worry. She's glad to have this heartfelt conversation before leaving. Selena wonders where he went, just as Fio and Mo arrive with tea to help them relax. Knowing Men's strength, they want to care for him well, so he won't fight hungry tomorrow. Men happily enjoys the village's delicious food, clean and nature-inspired. Dolan thinks if he ate this every day, he'd never tire of it. Christina had already cleared her plate, leaving nothing behind. Selena envies her friend's ability to eat like a pig, yet keep her figure. She explains she's naturally skinny and burns energy quickly through training, so no fat accumulates. As girls, the little serpent is amused where size matters. Her friend has it all. The other girl feels a pang of sadness. The elf tribe isn't blessed with curves. Everyone is skinny with fair skin and pretty faces. Suddenly, the four girls turn to Dolan, noticing his intense focus on their chatter. They're speechless, shouldn't he be shy instead? Christina reminds him he's at that awkward growing age and tells him to hold back his naughty thoughts. Men insists he's innocent and praises Fio's beauty, so no need to be jealous. Hearing this, the girl beams, promising to chat more with her two friends another day. Since tomorrow they march to war, they decide to rest early. Yet when Selena's hand trembles with fear, Dolan worries. That night, the little serpent stays awake alone, so the young man goes to check. Thinking Dolan can't sleep either, she's surprised he's just breathing in fresh air. Selena points to the beautiful elf village sky. Men is stunned by the poetic scene. No wonder the residents would risk everything to protect this place. Moonlight filters through leaves, creating an enchanting glow. The peace here is thanks to the elves living in harmony with nature for thousands of years. Occasionally, the clanging of the smithy echoes the craftsmen preparing for tomorrow's battle, eager to help their friends win. Men sits back, sharing that people often call him strange, but he's indifferent to that. He notices her worry and feels he dragged the little serpent into this chaos, even though she hates war. He promised to share more with his two friends another day, but the next morning the war march began early, so they rested. Yet, when he saw Selena's hands trembling in fear of Dolan, he grew concerned. That night, the little serpent couldn't sleep and sat alone, prompting him to check on her. Assuming Dolan was restless too, he found her hands still shaking violently. So, he lied, saying he just wanted some fresh air. The air was thick with quiet awe as Selena pointed toward the breathtaking sky above the elf village. Men were stunned by the serene beauty before him. No wonder the villagers would protect this place with their very lives. Moonlight filtered softly through the leaves, painting an ethereal scene. It was all thanks to the elves, who had lived in harmony with nature for thousands of years. Occasionally, the faint clinking of a smithy echoed nearby. That sound came from the weapon forge, where skilled artisans were busy preparing for tomorrow's battle. They wanted to aid their friends on the battlefield and claim victory. Men sat down to confide in his companion, sharing that people often called him strange, but he felt completely indifferent to it. The conversation shifted when he noticed her worry. She feared that he had dragged the little serpent into this chaos, even though she despised war. Selena admitted she wasn't afraid to fight, but hated hurting others. She believed she could have slain the Dark General by cutting him down before, despite him massacring elves and forest spirits. Yet, she couldn't bring herself to end his life. If she had, their side would have gained a huge advantage. This thought tormented Selena, branding herself a useless lamia for lacking the resolve to save more lives. Doran confessed that she used to think serpents like Selena were cold-blooded monsters, but after befriending her, she realized some serpents could be genuinely kind. That was why she invited Selena to live in the village together, unlike other lamias who would have ignored her. Hearing this felt almost like a confession, making Selena blush deeply. Doran assured her she didn't need to change. She was content with who Selena was. Differences, she said, lead to success. Men nodded, expressing his preference for her innocence and pure heart. Selena was overwhelmed with joy and speechless, especially when she was gifted a magical crystal. This gem, infused with dragon energy, was unlike any ordinary crystal. Men declined to reveal how it was made, leaving Selena amazed by its purity. He called it his favorite possession, and now entrusted it to her, hoping it would protect his muse. Even better, they were facing a fierce battle tomorrow. Doran urged Selena to trust in her and to fear nothing. Hearing this, Selena's confidence returned. Christina then teased them both as she had just woken up and saw the pair chatting late into the night. Worried about the cold, she wrapped them in a blanket. Selena thought it unfair that only the two of them could witness such a beautiful moment and joined in, savoring this peaceful night together. Dolan urges his friend to trust him, fully fear has no place here anymore. Hearing this, Selen regains her confidence. Christina steps out, playfully teasing the newly awakened lady, who watches the couple wrapped in night's chill. Fearing the cold, she throws a blanket over them. Bayran grumbles, feeling it's unfair such a beautiful moment belongs to just two, so she joins in, sharing a peaceful moment before the storm hits. Like everyone here, she's determined to protect this charming village. Selen declares she will no longer waver. If her strength is needed, she will give her all. Christina's spirit soars too, swearing to crush evil and restore peace for the people. Finally, Bayran relents and goes to sleep, easing the others' worries. The swordswoman senses her tension, yet luckily, Dolan's wisdom helps ease her mind. Men, armed with vast knowledge, asks about Jealous's ultimate defense technique meant for her. Dolan is shocked but keeps its true meaning hidden. The next morning, all warriors gather. Goyo steps forward, rallying spirits to defend their homeland. He reminds them the sacrifices of fallen heroes paved the way for their advance. The forest cries out in pain, and he cannot forget the tears of comrades. Fueled by righteous fury, their mission is clear. They must destroy the gate linking two worlds. Around it, 3 smaller gates remain, so the army splits into teams. Olivia leads the elves, beasts, and spiders. 2 elders, Gio and Diodora, patrol to help the Feta troops reach the gate with full strength. The 3 friends, the forest's beacon of hope, take on the enemy general directly. They move close to the gate only to be blocked. Selen chooses to stay and fight here, buying time for Christina and Dan to push forward. Though worried, the two agree, moved by her resolve to support Goyo's group. The warriors from the demon realm now sense an all-out assault by the elves. Job eagerly awaits the moment to face the dragon god. Others burn with anticipation, ready to jump into battle. The gate guarded by Gus is closest to the forest, so spiders and beasts move in to deal with it. Nearby, Rosie awaits, confronted by her sole rival. She's shocked when Diodora arrives alone. The Black Rose knows that even with backup, danger lurks, so she chooses to go solo. The little demon believes they underestimate her, vowing to torment Diodora until she begs for death. But Diodora promises to show this deadly flower what true decay means. Meanwhile, chaos erupts on Jeren's side. The battle begins. The enemy's body is armored in near-impenetrable steel, leaving no weakness. The elves rely on bows, aiming carefully at the joints, the only vulnerable spots. Gio is quickly overwhelmed by the enemy's overwhelming strength, pushed back. He knows their feeble attacks can't break through. But this is just the start of a brutal struggle where courage, sacrifice, and unyielding spirit will be tested. The moment was dull, overshadowed by Selena's hailstorm crashing down, crushing their opponent. It was hard to believe she'd grown this strong. Surely, it was the enchanted ring that Dolan gifted her, amplifying her magic. Jeren, who had taken a hit, smirked knowingly, guessing it was the little serpent behind this strike. She thought her friend had already reached the main gate with the others, but hearing Christina and Dolan were there, she rushed over. The little serpent earned praise for that powerful blow, and fate seemed to weave their paths for another battle. The villain fantasized about devouring her, while Selena, though wary, boldly promised she'd devour him first. The main gate was still far, unreachable, and Selena worried for the little serpent-facing demon generals. Death lurked in every encounter. No matter the foe's rank, survival was a gamble. Yet, she harbored no fear, trusting the ring she wore would shield her. She knew the battle ahead was brutal, but believed in her friend's resolve. With determination, the Lamia tribe's strength rivaled that of the demon generals. Hearing this, Christina felt a flicker of hope, though her heart stayed heavy with worry. The others planned to return and assist, but were held back, focusing all forces on one point could leave other gates vulnerable. Dolan explained the magic crystal's unique mechanism he gave Selena, promising it would greatly aid her. Relieved, she abandoned retreat and pressed onward toward Jello's gate. Meanwhile, the battle was tipping fully toward evil. The two tribes fought desperately, but Jello's overwhelming power rendered every tactic useless, deepening their despair. Just when all seemed lost, Christina broke away, rushing to save Dolan. Earlier, she was urged to continue to the main gate. The attack came unexpectedly, but Jello absorbed it and only stumbled backward. Spider-Girl, now saved, smiled, glad to see their fierce fight. Christina declared, "Everyone, fall back, let me handle this monster." She refused more bloodshed and vowed to give her all. The beast preferred battling Dolan, but Christina, a super-resistant swordswoman, activated her sword's second form. She was in a hurry, promising a quick end. The monster, however, invited her to savor this deadly duel slowly. This fight was tight speed and supreme swordsmanship versus unmatched regeneration and brute strength. He lunged relentlessly, creating openings but never defending, knowing Christina couldn't finish him in one strike. The longer this battle dragged on, the more advantage he gained, as his wounds healed instantly. Jalo praised the Movie no wonder she was a super resistor. Christina winced at the nickname. She didn't even know what it meant. Dolan chose another path, not heading straight to the main gate. Trusting Christina's strength, he aimed to minimize casualties before facing Jae-min, activating dragon power to soar to a nearby side gate. Meanwhile, Deodora had wiped out Rosia's undead soldiers and confronted her, demanding, "How long will she stand idle before striking?" Rosia had trapped herself in a black rose cage, accepting restricted movement to face her opponent head-on. Neither wanted interference in this honorable battle between the two flower spirits. Then, they unleashed their special powers. Deodora tried to dispel Rosia's poisonous bone veil but failed. Rosia was cunning, yet Deodora wielded a unique skill. Rosia struck with life force absorbed earlier, infuriating Deodorate, felt like Rapfia was puppeteering fallen comrades against her. Life force was the flower spirit's greatest power. Wielded wisely, it could turn the tide. The black roses swayed, dodging, but the sheer volume of poison orbs overwhelmed her, leaving her slightly wounded. When asked how she felt holding her friends' lives in her hands, Rapfia suggested Deodora embrace it all to stay close to her allies. Deodora, furious, attacked with vines, but touching the bone veil shattered her assault. To win, she had to neutralize this overpowered ability. Knowing she had the upper hand, Rosia toyed with the black roses, repaying an old grudge. The longer her foe's suffering lasted, the more delighted she became. Deodora declared she wasn't a toy for amusement. She unleashed a new skill, creating black roses of her own. Surprisingly, Deodora's strength rivaled Rosia's partisans. She'd held back before out of hatred for the death it caused. But now, seeing Rosia as a rival to be eliminated and avenged for the fallen flower spirits, she broke the seal. This only fueled Rosia's excitement. Each wanted to prove who could absorb the other's life fully. Thus, the two flower spirits clashed, eroding each other's strength. Deodora's lack of skill use left her weaker, while Rosia, trained daily with the poisonous bone veil, pushed back easily. She mocked Deodora's bluster as poison seeped out, draining life from the black roses. Rosia realized facing this battle alone was a grave error. Deodora would wither in solitude, unnoticed. Asked how she felt as her life slipped away, Deodora embraced it was exactly what she wanted. Once Rapfia absorbed enough black roses, she unleashed her trump card. The poison was blissful until sharp pains erupted. She realized she had been ensnared. The black rose life force spread poison through her veins. Confused, she struggled as a flower bud sprouted, binding her body. She was forbidden from using her life force. Earlier, Rapfia had absorbed it to nourish the bloom. Knowing her enemy was near death, Deodora revealed why her flower grew from her own body. Rosia, having honed her deadly bone screen every day, was clearly more experienced and easily pushed back her opponent's black smoke attack. She mocked Deodora as all talk, just blustering. Meanwhile, the poisonous aura from A began spreading, draining life from the black rose. Her enemy realized coming alone was a grave mistake. Deodora would wither in solitude, unseen and forgotten. "How does it feel," they taunted, "to watch your life slip away?" But this was exactly what Deodora desired. After absorbing enough black roses, she was ready to unleash her trump card. Reveling in the poison, she suddenly felt sharp pains. She was trapped by thorns, her life's essence turning into poison coursing through her veins. Confused, she witnessed a sprout bursting forth, binding her body and blocking her life force. The poison she absorbed had become nourishment for the flower. Knowing her enemy was near death, Deodora explained why her bloom was growing from her own body. She recalled the previous fight when Black Rose cleverly planted seeds in her wounds. Perhaps the battle had been decided then, but Deodora endured, unwilling to lose. Rosia screamed as thorns pierced her, unable to escape. Her bones shattered slowly until crushed completely. The final battle ended with the Black Rose Fae victorious, though heavily wounded. Her life force nearly drained. She couldn't continue fighting the approaching undead horde. Luckily, Doran arrived, unleashing a rain of energy that wiped them all out in a single strike. Seeing him fly overhead, Selena was too exhausted to understand and fainted. The scene shifted to Selena, whose situation was dire. She'd been struck by a lethal blow from Jeren and was in grave danger. Her friends worried helplessly. Unaware of Selena's plight, Doran was busy helping the Black Rose Fae recover her vitality. He destroyed the magical gate as planned, ensuring no undead could enter the area for now. Diodora asked about the magic circle's nature, and learned it had powerful healing properties. Anyone inside would be safe until fully healed. The Black Rose Fae was deeply grateful, but even more surprised by Men's form. He looked far from human. Men explained he'd only created wings. He was still a villager at heart. In his past life he was a dragon, which explained his ability to wield dragon energy. Diodora was astonished. She had never met a dragon before, let alone one reincarnated like this. The conversation hinted at deeper mysteries yet to unfold. Saved twice over, she was deeply grateful. But more strikingly, Men's form was far from human. He explained he only created wings. At heart, he was still a villager. He revealed his past life as a dragon, which is why he could wield dragon power now. Hearing this, Diodora was stunned. She had never encountered a dragon before, let alone one reborn. She considered seeking help elsewhere. Though still weak, Dolan urged her to rest longer. The rest, he said, they would handle. She'd already done well, having personally defeated Rafia. But Diodora insisted on joining them, demanding Dolan carry her, even attempting to charm men with her beauty. Though Dolan remained unmoved, she was gently turned down. She wished the young warrior victory and warned him to be cautious, as George was stronger than 3 demon generals combined. She feared their battle might ravage the forest. Meanwhile, Selena was brought down with a massive gaping wound at her tail. Fortunately, no vital organs were damaged. She only lost blood. The brothers tried to help but couldn't heal her wounds. Then, a special stone activated itself, granting healing powers. Seeing this, they relaxed a bit and told the little snake to hide so they could keep fighting. Half conscious, she begged not to be left alone, pleading at least to return. Her pain was palpable. Christina was still locked in a fierce duel, evenly matched. She tried deadly long-range strikes but missed, only to be slashed several times herself. Her recovery was weakening. The swordswoman wondered how many more hits it would take before her enemy gave up. Jello acknowledged the terrifying strength of the super-tough opponent. Since the enemy knew nothing of his past, he explained that in the demon world, special beings with extraordinary power are called super-toughs. Though human in form, Christina's abilities rivaled monsters. But being so special meant people hated her kind. Ordinary folks refused to accept the existence of the extraordinary. Christina felt a burning resentment hearing this. The man added that super-toughs are nature's enemies, human in body but strong enough to slay demons and gods. Even the mightiest ancient dragons were wiped out by them. This was why Dolan avoided explaining the concept to his friend. He himself had been killed by one. The tale of the dragon-slaying hero shocked Christina deeply. On the other side, when the White Dragon King appeared, Job bowed respectfully. As a warrior in his past life, Job seemed to have told his comrades that Dolan was the reincarnated dragon god. The friendship between him and Christina struck him as oddly humorous. Men recounted how he was killed by a figure like this, the legendary dragon-slaying hero. Christina was shocked by the story. Meanwhile, the White Dragon King appeared. Job bowed respectfully as a fellow warrior from a past life. It seemed he'd shared with his comrades that Doran was a reincarnated dragon god. Watching the friendship between him and Christina was oddly heartwarming. Upon awakening to the hero's bloodline within herself, Christina unleashed her supreme skills. Gus had both arms severed, then all 4 legs. She was stunned. Was this the true power of the hero? He wondered how the dragon god felt being killed by someone like this. Christina ended the fight by decapitating her foe. According to what she knew, the hero had betrayed his dragon friend, which the White Dragon surely resented deeply. Meanwhile, Doran listened as George recounted his own history as a war god who longed to spar with men. Doran was surprised that men knew his identity yet still dared to challenge him, noting men was currently limited by his human form. Though he lacked the skill of his past life, Doran felt confident now. He saw Doran as a battle-obsessed soul who'd fallen into dark magicka sad fate. For the fight to proceed smoothly, George